Hey all, I hope that you are having a good break so far. It's a wonderful Sunday in Janesville. I've just gotten done watching some basketball and I'm going to go back to watching the brackets in about 10 minutes. So I wanted to give my thoughts on the feedback that you gave me last week. And first, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to do that. I really appreciate it from the standpoint of understanding just how each of you are doing at this point of the semester, how you feel the course is going. And this usually allows me to determine, do changes need to be made? And it also gives me an opportunity to give some feedback or some thoughts on things that I think can help you with some of the issues you've identified as well. So, before I start with the good, I actually want to talk about areas that you think can be improved, and I want to talk a little bit about um, just a couple of these. And I hope that the things that are going well in the course can actually help those that identify areas that need to be improved in the course. So, for example, a couple of folks said we used to do weekly quizzes in 155. I have done that in microbiology before, and to be honest, I've not gotten very good feedback from it. And so I'm going to hold off on doing weekly quizzes right now. My design in having you do uh, questions for each lecture is actually to make sure that you're spending dedicated time each and every couple of days with the material instead of cramming for a quiz, for example. There were some that mentioned we should do more multiple choice questions, and I think that actually there's some benefit to that, particularly with the way that the multiple choice questions on the exam are set up. Just to let you know, if you're looking for just simple, straightforward multiple choice questions that maybe test knowledge and understanding, those are in the textbook actually. At the end of every chapter in the textbook, there are a list of multiple choice questions. I have taken those out from ones that I suggest you to review because typically in the past, students have had a harder time with essays than multiple choice. However, those are available. Feel free to use them. You'll just have to identify for yourself which ones are best to use and which ones are on information we haven't covered yet. If there are any questions with that, feel free to ask me. I think one of the things that I can do with that then in the course is maybe have a multiple choice or two as a way to review some of the topics that we've talked about or as an introduction to the lecture. And so I'll make an effort to begin working on that some more. Some mentioned that videos should be posted, and I do want to point out already that there are mini lectures available. About 50 or 60% of you watch those before each lecture, and thank you for doing that. They are designed to be watched before lectures so that when you get there, you have some background information and so that you aren't as lost during the process of the lecture. In addition, as you know, or as you may know, I tape every single lecture that we have in class, with rare exception in cases where, for example, the recorder isn't working on that day. Those are all posted on YouTube, and I have a link for it directly from Blackboard. So if you look at the left-hand menu of Blackboard, you will find a link that says Microbiology at Edgewood. That is the link to all of the lecture videos throughout the semester. Some said we should have some study guides or some terminology to prepare for exams. And I actually don't know if we need that because I do already have terminology and study guide style questions for you. They're just embedded in individual lectures. So again, if you take a look at a unit folder in Blackboard, you're going to find that individual lectures are broken down. It has terminology listed, what I call guiding questions, and those are really kind of like study guide questions in a way. And then there are review questions. If you're looking for additional questions beyond these, at the end of every unit folder, you're going to find another list of review questions. They're available on Blackboard. You can also download them as a document file, and these are available for you to use to study as you're preparing for exams. I do also want to remind you that there are 2 practice exams for every exam that we take throughout the semester. All right, so let's talk about some of the good. About half of the individuals mentioned mini lectures were a good thing. and that there's a lot of resources. And I've tried to reiterate that with my comments I've just said a minute ago. Additionally, some folks really enjoy the group work. I actually personally think that with this particular class, the set of students that we have in there right now, you guys are working better in groups than we are as a class because you are doing more talking. And so that's something that I would like to do more of. Additionally, some mentioned that the reviews with Julia have been helpful. Now, I understand that not everybody can make that particular time, but do remember that Julia is available outside of those times. You can email her if you'd like to get some one-on-one tutoring. You can also go to the contact list up on Blackboard and you will find there the hours that she's available each and every week. I also have office hours, but you know that I'm also willing to talk to you outside of those office hours as well. It seems to me that the folks who identified good things are individuals who are prepping before lecture by using the mini lectures and by using the study guides to help them with things like homework questions. So I think one suggestion I would give to everybody is if you're not doing it already, spend 30 to 60 minutes with the material for class before class even begins. That's going to make you better prepared when class begins. Now, I did want to address a couple of the how do you identify areas you need to grow, and then also some other comments. And it seemed to me that there were two major themes to areas to grow. One, ask questions. A number of people mentioned, I've got to ask more questions, I've got to speak up. If I don't, the questions aren't going to get answered. And I know that some individuals are not ones who like to speak up in class. I do want to remind you that I will slow down lecture if questions are asked. Again, you can come find me, you can talk to Julia, and there is one more option available. Up on Blackboard, there is a question and answer section, and this is a discussion board. There is a different discussion board for each of the chapters that we're studying throughout this semester. There's a separate one for lab. There's also one for you to just ask me any question you want to. All of those questions can be posted anonymous, and so there should be no shame in asking these questions. In all honesty, there should never be a shame in asking a question during class period or outside of class. So if you're somebody who needs to ask some questions to be able to understand the material, please do so. I'm working my best to try to respond to those discussion board questions faster than I'm actually getting to emails right now. And then finally, another area to grow was just consistent practice. And this means before and after lecture, spending 30 to 60 minutes with the material rather than waiting to cram the week before the exam. And because this course does build on itself, I feel it's really important to be consistent with that practice. There were a few other things that were mentioned, that nothing that was quite scary or made me cause too much concern. A couple of these things are things that we've already passed, like somebody's mentioned, don't make VoiceThread the first assignment of the semester. I completely agree, and that's something that I'm making change for next year. If you have questions on how do I study for this course, and I don't have a lot of confidence right now, how can I build confidence in this course? Come talk to me. But again, in my mind, the simplest answer is be practicing, find somebody that you want to study with. And if you don't know anybody in the class that you'd be willing to study with, come talk to me and I will do what I can to help you find someone. So with that said, I'm at 9 minutes. The brackets open up in a minute. Have a great rest of the spring break and I'll see you all a week from tomorrow.